The story you're about to hear was told to me by a woman named Jersey. She worked nights at a residential home for people with disabilities. At first, the job seemed calm and easy, but over time, the nights became something else entirely. Something she couldn't explain, something she couldn't shake. What follows is her account in her own words, and I'll warn you now, once you hear it, you'll understand why she never went back. I don't usually talk about this, she said. I've only told a handful of people, and most of them just kind of laugh it off or tell me I was overtired. But you asked if I'd ever had something truly scare me at work, so yeah, I'll tell you. Back then I was 22, working as a support worker at a residential home for adults with disabilities. It wasn't a bad job at all. Honestly, I liked it. Most nights were quiet. The residents all had routines. They were mostly asleep by 9:30, and my job on nights was just to be there in case somebody needed something or there was an emergency. There was even a bed in the office for us. We were allowed to sleep if everything was settled, and for the first year, I didn't even think twice about it. I'd bring a book, sometimes stream something on my phone, or just snooze. But things changed when I met my new boyfriend. I was out a lot more, staying up later, doing things during the day, so by the time my shift rolled around, I was exhausted. Instead of staying up all night like usual, I'd actually start sleeping during my shifts. That's when it all started. The first time I woke up to it, I thought I was dreaming. You know that feeling when you're half asleep and your brain thinks someone's in the room? I opened my eyes because I swore I felt someone standing over me, but the room was empty. Then I heard it, the sound of footsteps leaving slowly and deliberately, like someone was trying not to make noise but couldn't help it. I jumped up and went straight to the residents' rooms. Everyone was asleep though, dead to the world, tucked in, not moving. Then one night it happened again, maybe about 2 weeks later. Same thing, that awful, prickling feeling of eyes on you, the footsteps leaving as I sat up. I checked every room again, and nothing. Everyone was asleep and tucked in. But a third or fourth time that this has happened, I stopped dismissing it as a dream. My heart would already be racing when I opened my eyes. The office felt cold even though the rest of the building was always kept warm. Sometimes I thought I saw a shadow move at the far end of the hall, but when I went to look, there was no one there. I started telling my coworkers, but they'd just laugh at me. It's an old building, they'd say, creaks and groans. Residents get up at night. Don't freak yourself out, they always told me. But the residents, they weren't up. I knew their habits, and what I was hearing, it didn't sound like random creaks or cracks. It sounded like someone walking in the room. It got so bad I stopped sleeping on shift. I'd sit there all night, eyes burning, just waiting to hear it again. And I always did. Sometimes it was doors opening and closing softly down the hall. Sometimes it was distant voices, low, like people talking in another room. Sometimes I'd leave the office thinking a resident was up, only to find every door shut and everyone tucked in. One day I was talking to a woman whose grandmother had lived there years earlier. I was just making small talk, but I told her about how creepy the building could be at night. She looked at me for a long time and said, "You know, this used to be an asylum?" I laughed, thinking she was just joking, but she wasn't. She told me about how back in the early 1900s, they'd done experiments on patients there, kept them locked up, tried all kinds of treatments that would be illegal now. She said a lot of people died there, some never ever documented. I tried not to let it get in my head, but it did. And after that, everything felt heavier. The noises seemed louder, the shadows seemed darker. Over the next year, it seemed to escalate. Little things at first. Doors I knew I'd closed would be open. My pen would be gone from the desk and later turn up on the floor across the room. Once, a stack of charts slid right off the counter, all on their own while I was watching. Another time, I was making coffee at about 3 in the morning and heard a man's voice, clear as day, say my name from down the hall. But when I went to look, no one was there. The worst night was near the end. I decided to nap because I was just so tired. I woke up freezing. The room was colder than I'd ever felt it, like the temperature had dropped by at least 10 degrees. I couldn't move at first. It felt like something heavy was pressing on my chest. Then I heard the footsteps again, not leaving this time though, coming closer, slow, one after another. I couldn't see anything, but I knew. I knew someone was standing right next to the bed. I forced myself to sit up, and it stopped. There was just silence. Every resident was asleep, every door shut. That was it for me. I couldn't do it anymore. It was affecting everything, my relationship, my health, my whole life. I quit soon after, and I never went back. Over the years, I met other people who worked there, and do you know what? A lot of them quit for the same reason. They don't always say it though, but you can tell. They'll say things like, it was too creepy, or I couldn't handle the nights. I still don't know what was going on there. Maybe there's a rational explanation for it all. Maybe I was overtired. Maybe it was just an old building. Who knows? When I think about those footsteps, the voices, the way the air felt, thick and heavy, I don't think I'll ever really know. And honestly, I don't want to know. All she knows is that once you experience a night shift like hers, it stays with you forever. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to Jersey's story. Hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. I've got more real stories coming soon, so stick around, and I'll see you in the next one.